Now we get to one of my favorites. If you take away the gory slasher films that I normally talk about, you take those away, I have to say this one right here was probably my favorite supernatural suspense thriller film. This is horror right here. And I had rewatched it again last night because I haven't seen it in years. And it's actually a little bit scarier than even what I remember it to be. I mean, there were images in there that's like, wait a minute, I don't even remember that. The cast did a great job. Patrick Wilson, who was the dad, Josh. Rose Byrne played the mom, Renee. You had Ty Simpkins play Dalton the son. You had Angus Sampson as Tucker. Lynn Shaye playing Elise. And Barbara, okay, you also had Lee Wannell, I want to say Wannell, played Specs. And then you have Barbara Hershey playing the mother, playing Josh's mother. Now, this movie had a budget of just under $2 million. The box office was just over $100 million. That's amazing for, in general, any type of movie that's not an action thriller, or a superhero, Marvel, DC, anything like that. But again, especially for a movie like this, I mean, yeah, that's excellent right there. Google synopsis. Parents take drastic measures when it seems their new home is haunted and their comatose son is possessed by a malevolent entity. This movie came out in 2010, distributed by Alliance Communications, Icon Productions, Filmflex, Momentum Pictures, I Am Global, and Film District. The ratings on this movie are mostly good. Some of them are all right or slightly below all right. Of course, Metacritic gave it a 52. And like I said, I think they're tougher than even Rotten Tomatoes, which gave it a 67. Internet Movie Database gave it 68. And then you have Google users give it an average of 82 to 88%. That's good. Now let me get to Metacritic, if I can find the dang thing. I'm sorry, not Metacritic, Common Sense Media, because who cares about Metacritic, right? Positive messages. There is a bit of fair conflict. Characters argue a great deal and are unable to agree on much. The wife wants a supernatural solution, and the more practical husband won't allow it. The problem is solved, but not entirely solved. And I would say that I can't exactly tell you what that's referring to because it kind of spoils the ending of the movie. And I know most of my horror fans, I would say at least half of my fellow horror fans have probably seen this. I know a lot of you probably haven't. It's currently available to watch on Netflix. I don't know how much longer it's going to be on there, so catch it while you can. You know how these streaming services do. They'll have certain movies on there for forever, and then there's others that'll be on there for 3 days. I don't understand the point, but I don't control what's on there, how long it's there. I'm just letting you know where it's at. Catch it there. And if you miss it there, then rent it on YouTube or Amazon. I think it's worth it. Of course, you know me. I buy all the movies on YouTube and Amazon, so I have all 5 movies of Insidious on YouTube, along with the 9 Freddy movies, the 11 or 12 Jason movies, the 13 Halloween films, the 6 Scream movies, and all that stuff. And all 10 Fast movies. Well, 11 if you include Hobbs and Shaw. So that's just, you know me. I buy the movies. I don't care. Positive role models. Though these people are all nice, there's not much in the way of role models. The wife spends much of the film being scared, and the husband is vain and argues and hides from his responsibilities for much of the movie. Though he eventually shows bravery, it may be too late. Now, as far as the violence in this movie, now, again, like I said, this is not like a gory slasher, so you're not watching Scream or Halloween. This movie isn't violent in a gory way. Though viewers do see some bloody handprints and some intense fighting, there are loud, scary noises on the soundtrack, and a young boy is in jeopardy throughout. But while it isn't graphic, the movie is very frightening with lots of creepy, half-glimpsed figures and a scary alternate universe in which everything is dark and anything could be hiding anywhere. Now, how does Common Sense Media break down the story? More so than Google did. In Insidious, the Lambert family settles in their new house, only to find that weird things are happening. Books and boxes move around, and there are weird noises coming from the attic. Before long, the son, Dalton, falls into a mysterious coma, and the mom, Renee, starts seeing things. Dad, Josh, agrees to move them out of the seemingly haunted house, but the strange events continue. When Josh's mother hires a medium to help, the medium explains that it was never the house that was haunted. It was Dalton, their son. Now, someone must make a dangerous, terrifying trip into the further, which is that other realm, to try to rescue him, if it's not too late. Is it any good? No. It's great. The director is James Wan and writer-actor Lee Wannell, third project together after their hit Saw, not a big fan of that, and its dull follow-up, Dead Silence. I haven't seen that yet. And it's their best and most frightening film yet. Especially Insidious is a retreat of Poltergeist. I've seen Poltergeist years ago. That was good. About a haunted house that more or less kidnaps a child but has its own unique spin. Surprisingly, after the ultra-gory Saw movies, Wan and Wannell choose here to go to the old-fashioned route and rely on half-glimpsed images, darkness, shadows, and noises for their scares, which are really more effective anyway. And the characters are flawed in a deliberate and interesting way, resulting in some good performances. Barbara Hershey and Shaye get in some interesting moments. Families can talk about Insidious' violence and terror. How did it affect you? I'll tell you this. So even though it didn't necessarily scare me per se, I will say that there is something about the idea of watching a movie like that at night, and it hits you a little bit differently. You know, my eyes are glued to the television, the heart's racing a little bit. I kind of know what's going to happen at a point because I've already seen it a few times before, but it's just been years. But there's just something different about the idea of a house being haunted is already kind of scary enough. But to learn that it's not the house that's haunted, it's the son that's haunted. Meaning that this entity that comes from this other realm comes into the real world to possess this boy and to enter the realm through his body. Now, I know that sounds kind of like, okay, what does that mean? Like, what? You got to watch the movie to see, because if I get more into it, it's going to spoil more, and I'm trying not to do that for those of you who haven't seen the movie yet, who later plan on watching it. There's just something different about this type of movie that it just hits differently. And this is why I said this is my favorite one outside of the slashers. How did it affect you? How scary is the movie? On a scale of 1 to 10, I would say, for me, I would definitely say at least give it about an 8, close to a 9. What makes it different from and scarier than other horror movies? Is it scarier given the fact that a young boy is in trouble? Well, let me say this. So when most people think horror movies, let's face it, slasher is what comes to mind a lot of the times. Jason Voorhees has a machete. Freddy Krueger, razor-sharp claws. Michael Myers, butcher knife. Ghostface also has a knife. It's not a butcher knife. I can't think of the name of what that knife is called off top, but you've seen the movie. You know what I'm talking about. And there's just something different about a psycho idiot wearing a mask and going around and slashing people and killing them, as opposed to a setting where the house or a person is haunted. And it's just, the jump scares are, you can't time it. Some of it you just can't time. And I'm actually mad about the fact that I didn't even see this movie in theaters. This would have been a great big screen experience. I saw the 3rd, 4th, and 5th ones in theaters. I didn't see the first 2 in theaters, but movies like this are what really, really push me to go see these type of supernatural thrillers and suspense, psychological suspenses in theaters. This movie definitely did it for me on that one. Are these characters likable? What do you think they act? Why do you think they act the way they do? Are they role models? I would say most of the characters are pretty likable. I don't think that the dad was dislikable. I think that he was just being a bit arrogant and rough on his part. I don't think that he was that open-minded. But at the end of the day, he had good intentions. I mean, he went into the... I got to stop right there because it's going to spoil it. But let's just say he did what he could to, he does what he can to protect his family. So, again, check the movie on Netflix. And my personal rating on this movie is basically a 10. I'd have to give it a 10. For sure, no less than a 9.5. But I feel it's... I don't know what more could have been done with it. Could have been done with it. So I'll give it a 10. And there's 5 of these movies. We don't yet know if there's going to be a 6th one. I'm actually surprised there was even 4 and 5 because I didn't know if they were going to do any after 3. I still say the first 2 are the best, but I'm going to rewatch the other ones and then give my take on that as well. Like and subscribe. I got plenty of movies and shows coming your way.